I'm not really comfortable sharing the details of what happened just before my death. What truly matters and is worth telling is what came after. I genuinely believe I experienced something very close to paradise. I'll do my best to describe what I remember as clearly as possible. It all started in the middle of the night, around 2 a.m. when I got up to use the bathroom, just a usual routine. That's when I felt my body give way, as if the ground beneath me had disappeared. I passed out. My partner at the time sensed something was wrong. He came into the bathroom and found me on the floor. Without hesitation, he called for help immediately. The moments that followed, as the doctors later explained, were critical. I'm thankful to have this documentation as proof because my experience might sound unbelievable to those who haven't gone through anything like this. The hospital recordings from North Carolina show that I was in a coma, but what's especially remarkable is that I was clinically dead for about 14 minutes. That's the time recorded from when the first rescue team arrived and found no signs of life. That first team couldn't revive me, but it was only when the second team, specialized in advanced care, showed up that they finally detected a heartbeat. 14 minutes of clinical death, yet one question remains. I was probably already gone by the time my partner found me. We don't know exactly how long my heart had stopped before help arrived. It was during this time that something extraordinary happened. Suddenly, I saw myself outside my body, floating in the living room and watching everything from above. It was strange but incredibly calming. I saw people moving around, talking to each other, and I heard everything with astonishing clarity. I felt no fear or worry. Thoughts about my debts, work, or who would take care of me didn't even cross my mind. It was as if time had stopped, wiping away all other concerns. Only this enveloping peace filled the scene. This feeling of serenity deeply transformed my being. I knew I could return to life, but this out-of-body experience stayed etched in my mind. As I watched myself being carried away from home, I felt completely disconnected. I observed the body being transported, but I didn't recognize it. I didn't feel like that body belonged to me. It could have been anyone's. There was no despair or anguish. Everything felt natural, almost as if it were an inevitable moment. When everyone left and closed the door, that's when it happened. I felt a gentle pressure on my shoulder. I thought it was a woman, although I couldn't see her clearly. She spoke calm and firm words. "You must leave now." This phrase stuck in my mind, and my first reaction was to wonder, leave for where? Before I could think more, my surroundings began to shift. This is what I call the fog phase. For a few moments, everything went dark, as if I had closed my eyes but without any sense of movement. Then I opened them and found myself in a place that was utterly indescribable. I was in the middle of a vast field dotted with millions of colorful flowers. The landscape gently sloped, and in the distance, massive mountains rose far larger than anything we know on Earth. Some made Everest look like a simple hill. Around me, thousands of people appeared, not just happy but radiant, as if they were emitting genuine energy and joy simply by being there. Each one seemed to exist in a state of complete peace, in perfect harmony with their surroundings. Looking down, I noticed the flowers beneath my feet slowly moving aside, as if they didn't want me to step on them. It was as if these flowers were alive, aware of my presence. Even though I felt no weight or physical body, they seemed to show respect, understanding that I still perceived myself as having a human body. The beauty of this place was beyond words. The flowers seemed to radiate a special energy from the edges of their petals, and their colors were indescribable, so vibrant and unlike anything we see here on Earth. I realized that in our reality, we only perceive a small part of the color spectrum. But there I could behold shades I never thought possible. As I wandered through this field, a truth became clear. What we think we create. It was profound wisdom, yet over there it felt obvious. If I wanted to change something about myself, my appearance, my thoughts, or my feelings, I just had to will it. Everything appeared to be shaped by the mind. If I wished for long, smooth black hair, it would happen instantly. This field wasn't just a place of beauty. It was a realm where the laws of existence were different. Everything was in tune with consciousness, with pure thought, and somehow I knew this was the true essence of being. If I wanted to be in the mountains, I could be there right away. If I wanted to climb them, I could begin my ascent from the base, experiencing it as real and tangible. Everything unfolded perfectly in sync with my imagination, without any rush or haste. It was a feeling of total freedom. In the background, a gentle melody played, seeming to embrace the entire space, though it came from nowhere in particular. A certain place emitted it. From the universe itself, the flowers, mountains, waters, and even from me. It was a soothing tune, almost like a repeated chant calming the mind. The most incredible part was that if I no longer wished to hear that music, I simply had to change it. I could compose a new melody, as if I had access to an endless playlist of whatever my mind wanted to hear. I followed a paved path that seemed to stretch on forever. I explored misty valleys, crystal clear lakes, and tranquil rivers. The landscape shifted with every step. I climbed majestic mountains, and as I descended, I found myself in a city of indescribable beauty. It was a vast metropolis with structures soaring thousands of meters into the sky. Over there, the buildings seemed to be made of pure energy, giving the impression that matter itself was alive and pulsing with light. Some buildings were constructed from massive bricks, yet there were no elevators inside, not because they weren't needed, but because anyone who wished to reach another level simply thought of their destination, and in an instant, they were there. Still staircases were present, and I realized they were for those who preferred to savor the journey step by step. This place honored free will and choice. Everything was possible, and it seemed that the very idea of limitation had no place here. The concepts of effort or impossibility simply vanished. It was a world where thoughts instantly shaped reality. I lost all sense of how much time I spent there. Perhaps a year and a half, maybe longer. Time had no meaning as it does on Earth. Every moment felt both eternal and fleeting. In this state of completeness, there was no fear or anxiety, nor any sense of loss. Only the awareness that what we think is who we are, and who we are is what we create. Time in this place didn't exist in the way we understand it. I lived, interacted, and observed so much that it felt like an eternity. Then all of a sudden I felt a gentle touch on my shoulder. Instinctively I turned to look, but there was no one there. Yet I knew she was a woman. Her presence was perceptible in a way that words can't capture, like a deep feeling beyond sight. It was as if she was guiding me through awareness. Suddenly I found myself at the entrance of a monumental cathedral. Its towers stretched thousands of meters like pillars ascending to the sky. As I passed through the immense wooden doors, a vast corridor unfolded before me. On each side there were enormous benches, each about 10 meters long, carved from a single block of wood. The floor appeared to be made of golden granite, with massive blocks over 18 meters in length, gleaming and reflecting the soft light streaming through the stained glass windows. They were incredibly tall, stretching as far as my eyes could see, casting vivid colors around and creating a play of light that seemed to dance in the air. I walked slowly, captivated by the grandeur of this living architecture. Every detail seemed infused with a sacred design, a pure expression of energy. When I reached the end of the hallway, I was met by 3 imposing figures. They weren't physical beings as we understand them, but entities of pure energy. The camels, their presence radiated an indescribable strength, and their energies moved in spirals, flowing simultaneously in opposite directions. It looked like a dance of light rising from the floor toward their heads like an upside-down helmet. The atmosphere felt solid, yet peaceful, almost ethereal, surrounded by deep silence. It was then that I noticed a figure in the distance, someone slowly approaching me. With each step, the image of this person became clearer until they were close. I saw a serene face full of wisdom. Without any formality or hesitation, this person said to me, "Linda, you shouldn't be here. You need to return to Earth." Those words struck me deeply, like a gentle yet undeniable command. I didn't question it. I didn't try to understand why. Somehow I just knew my time there was over. The next moment blurred, and all I remember is waking up in the hospital. The environment had completely changed, now filled with machines and hurried movements. I felt the doctors removing the tubes from my throat as I slowly became aware. Opening my eyes in that hospital felt like being born again. Everything was confusing at first, the lights were glaring, my body felt fragile, and for a few moments just breathing seemed strange. I heard voices around me, doctors and nurses discussing my condition, checking my vital signs while struggling with the tubes in my throat. A clear thought came to me: I have returned. The healing was slow but meaningful. Every small step, moving my fingers, speaking, even sitting up in bed, felt like a victory. Meanwhile, my mind was at peace, knowing I had returned with a greater purpose. The experience taught me to appreciate the value of life and the little things we often take for granted. I realized that being alive is a gift, and I was determined to honor it. A few days later, the doctors discharged me. My partner was there waiting with tears in their eyes, but the atmosphere was calm, almost ethereal, yet deeply silent. That's when I noticed a figure in the distance, slowly approaching. With each step, the image of this person became clearer. When they finally reached me, I saw a calm and wise face. Without any ceremony or hesitation, they said, "Linda, you shouldn't be here. You need to go back to Earth where you belong." Those words struck me deeply, like a gentle yet undeniable command. I had no doubt, no questions. Somehow I understood my time there was over. The next moment became blurry, and all I remember is opening my eyes in the hospital. The environment was completely different, filled with machines and hurried people. I felt the doctors removing the tubes from my throat as I slowly came to. Opening my eyes in that hospital felt like a rebirth. Everything was confusing at first, the lights glaring bright, my body fragile. For a few moments, even the simple act of breathing felt strange. I heard voices around me, doctors and nurses discussing my condition, checking my vital signs as they removed the tubes. Then a clear thought came to me: I am back. The healing was slow but meaningful. Every small step, like moving my fingers, speaking, or even sitting up in bed, was a victory. Meanwhile, my mind was at peace. I knew I had returned with a greater purpose. The experience I went through taught me to appreciate the value of life and the little things we often overlook. I realized how precious life is, and I was determined to honor that. A few days later, the doctors introduced me to my partner, who was waiting for me with tears in his eyes. With a smile on his lips, he helped me into the car. During the ride home, the feeling of being alive was stronger than ever. The wind brushed against my face, the sound of leaves in the trees surrounded me, and the vast sky above was so full of colors, so vibrant with energy. Things that had once left me indifferent now held deep meaning. When I finally returned home, I was overwhelmed with emotion as I stepped through the front door. This place, which had once been just part of my routine, now felt like a true sanctuary. I settled onto the couch and took a deep breath. The peace I had felt during my journey was still present, but at that moment, I knew the real miracle was experiencing each moment with full awareness, gratitude, and intention. Today, I want to share this message with as many people as possible. No matter how difficult or dark life may seem, there is always a way to find the light again. My experience made me realize that we are never alone. The love of God surrounding us is far greater than we can imagine. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my story until the end. I hope it has sparked some reflection or inspiration within you. Life is truly a precious gift, and every moment deserves to be cherished. If this message resonated with you, feel free to leave a comment and share your thoughts. Don't forget to give a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you won't miss any upcoming videos. Share this story with someone who might find inspiration or hope in it. Together, we have the power to bring light, motivation, and transformation into lives. Thank you so much for being here with me, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye for now.